All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we got to talk. So today we're talking about Stevie Knight. And if you're wondering who that is, he's a YouTuber. He's got about 1 million subscribers. I found him a few months ago, about a year ago, actually, during the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. He typically talks about hip hop stuff and things that happen in the black community. Well, this time, he made a video called Is This Why Charlie Deserved It? Talking about Charlie Kirk. I liked Stevie quite a bit. I had no idea that he was a Team MAGA guy. I had no idea that he was a tap dancing coon. I had no idea until I watched this video. So what he does in this video is he makes an attempt to debunk all of the nasty statements that Charlie Kirk actually made and that people are putting online. I'm sure you've seen these these clips and all this stuff where there's pictures or videos of Charlie Kirk saying stuff and people are like, why are y'all mourning this guy? This dude's a racist. This dude's a sexist. Well, Stevie Knight believes none of that stuff is true. And he is, quote unquote, holding the black community accountable is what he calls it. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to play this video. I'm going to play it at 1.5 speed because it is a pretty long video. And I just want to give a few thoughts as we go through this. And I want to make sure that we all hear what this coon is talking about. Okay.
Video where Kirk says black women are idiots and they do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously.
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
But what I really want to bring attention to is how they're portraying this as if he's generalizing all black women. Charlie Kirk says black women do not have brain processing power. When did he say black women do not have?
Okay. So I'm sure y'all already see what kind of coon behavior he on, right? For one, Charlie Kirk named 4 black women. He named 4 black women. So when someone says Charlie Kirk says this about black women, that's a fact. The statement that he's talking about did not say Charlie Kirk says all black women. He didn't say that. The statement says Charlie Kirk makes a statement about black women. It's a fact. So the fact that he's doing all this tap dancing, back flipping, doing all this showing out for the MAGA movement, trying to make it seem like Charlie Kirk is on the up and up, unfortunately he's not, and his argument falls flat for this instance. Also, Charlie Kirk clearly says that someone, talking about a black woman, fills a white person's slot. Who's to say that it belongs to a white person? In this video, you'll hear Stevie Knight talking about black folks being entitled too much. To me, that is what entitlement is. Who's to say that these slots belong to white people in the first place? Okay.
Have brain processing power. He named these women by their name. They just happen to be black. That does not mean he's racist. That means he said these names with his whole chest and he's telling people how he feels about these particular women who were picked up by affirmative action. And
so Stevie Knight says he named 4 women and they just so happen to be black. Coincidence. That's how tough this dude is. This dude is buck dancing tough.
Affirmative action is a very contentious topic. Everyone does not agree upon affirmative action, and they have the rights to have differing opinions on affirmative action, which does not mean that they're racist. Hell, I don't like affirmative action. Does that mean I deserve to die? The entitlement, bro. How dare he say something negative about the black women that we love? Just because y'all love them don't mean he got to fucking love them. He has his reasons. Right? Joy Reid, come on now. Joy Reid, come on now. Right? And I know the black community is all enticed and enamored by Michelle Obama, but everybody don't feel that way, including me. Including a whole bunch of people that got this on their skin. Does that mean they're racist? No, it just means we don't like that motherfucker. It don't matter if she's white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the fuck. We just do not like what that woman is.
So far, we see that Stevie Knight does not agree with affirmative action. He doesn't like Joy Reid, and he doesn't like Michelle Obama.
We don't like how this particular person is, for whatever reason. And we have the right to have our opinion about that. But does that mean that they're racist? No. But the glaring issue about this is how they're trying to paint bro as a racist because he felt some type of way about 4 particular women. Just the simple fact that one of his first hires was Candace fucking Owens, bro. Last time I checked, she was black.
Is Candace Owens black? Is she? To me, she's also a coon. Everything that she puts out is either shaded towards a negative side of black folks or how white folks are being mistreated. That's all Candace Owens talks about. That's all that Officer Tatum talks about. So to say that he's not racist because he hired Candace Owens, the one of very few people, one of very few black folks who think like that, that's actually worse against Charlie Kirk.
I mean, there's a bunch of black folks that don't consider Candace Owens black because of what she says. And if you ask me, that's much more racist than anything Kirk has uttered, because Kirk has never based anything off the color of your skin. It's all about policy. But here you have a collection of black folk that are targeting specific black folk because of the color of their skin and the fact that they say things, right? So, I mean, who's more racist in all this, bro? But anyway, let's continue. The whole black pilot conversation. How dare he say anything about a black pilot, right? I'll give y'all a little more context where he's going back and forth with a black individual about this particular topic.
So when you see a black pilot, you wonder, boy, is that person there because they earned it or because they were placed there? That's what DEI does. It makes you ask questions you otherwise would not ask.
The airline industry is going to take an unqualified person, just based off diversity.
Underqualified, not underqualified.
Unqualified, whatever, uncertified, and put them in a cockpit and risk people's lives?
Those are two different things. Under and un are two different things. Of course, United Airlines will not take someone off the side of the street and put them into a pilot. But in order to reach a 40% goal, they might cut corners, they might accelerate the process in order to reach a goal. We know this through all sorts of DEI examinations and projects over the last 10 years. When you have to choose in life, either excellence or racial quotas will end up being the most important, and both cannot simultaneously.
This conversation has absolutely nothing to do with someone being black.
This conversation has absolutely everything to do with white supremacy. And apparently Stevie Knight does not understand what that looks like. This is what white supremacy is. It's when you think that white people are superior to black people. If someone says that you got to find 40% black pilots, you don't think that there's black folks out there that have the capacity to be a pilot? Seriously? They're out there. I'm sure they're applying. So to say, like, when I see a black pilot, the first thing I think is, I hope he's qualified. I'm sure he is qualified. The reason why affirmative action, the reason why DEI stuff existed is because black folks were overlooked too often when they were qualified. It's not about giving people opportunities who weren't qualified. It's about giving people who are qualified, but they don't look like you. It's about giving people opportunities who are qualified, but they don't come from the same neighborhood as you come from. That's what affirmative action, that's what DEI is about.
It has all to do with policy. You take black away, could be someone Asian. Was that Asian? It would never be that because Asians excel in everything academic-wise. But here we're taking people that are underqualified than others that are more qualified. That is the topic of conversation. It just so happens that those that are underqualified compared to their superior competitors are being picked over due to the color of their skin. That is not fair. That's not based off merit. And it has nothing to do with race, all to do with policy. I can't stand DEI either, bro. It's detrimental to society, bro, because it's not conducive of best performance. It's not conducive of the most proficient. It's not conducive of excellence. It's conducive of mediocrity. Say, for instance, the roles was reversed and black people were the ones that excelled in everything. We'll flip it. You, as a black person, scored off the charts on everything, pilot, 100, 110, however the ranking system is. Your destiny with being a pilot is written. You that motherfucker. Your whole life people have been telling you that. You know it is by how much better you are than everybody. This is your passion, what you love. And the time to get picked up by Delta, you get selected over by, let's say it's someone you're familiar with. You know that they're not a better pilot than you. You got better scores, you fly better. Maybe you even know of them personally, right? And they happen to be a Pakistani lesbian woman. Is that fair? It's the logic.
Stevie Knight does not understand. So this is the story, like what he's talking about right now. What if this happened? That's the story of black folks for centuries. That's the issue. That's why DEI was created. I worked for a major retailer. I worked there for 13 months. For every single month that I was there, I got at least employee of the week or employee of the month for every single month. Once I got the opportunity to interview for an executive position, my interview was one question. And that question was, how long have you been working here? And then they escorted me out real quick. I had a college degree. I had been there for 13 months. I had been awarded at least one time every single month. The person who ended up getting the job was somebody who was brand new to the company, never even worked for the company before. So I ended up training him for that executive job. Guess what he looked like? Tall, 6'2", white guy. That's who got the job. Why? Because he looked just like the other folks in the executive positions. I did not. I didn't speak their language. I didn't come from where they come from. I hire people myself. I know whenever you're hiring people, a lot of the times you want to hire folks that you'll get along with. I get that. So that's why DEI, that's why affirmative action, that's why all those things were created in the first place.
Logical way to view things. But, we're here viewing things. Well, not we are. Y'all are here viewing things with an emotional lens. Logic no longer exists. and you label someone a racist for it when there's not a racist. Well, I don't know. I can't even say that. I can't say he's not racist, right? I would never know what's going on in someone's head, how they think, if they're hiding it from me. But from everything I've seen Kirk say and how he presents himself, how he articulates himself, how he justifies his perspective and his point, I have not seen a racist undertone in anything. It's just people putting this label on him because of how they feel about what he says. Most of y'all won't even entertain the justification of his perspectives because you're already emotionally triggered by a statistic that he's provided for you. You know, blacks kill more than anybody. It's gonna trigger a bunch of people, mainly in the black demographic. And they're so triggered that they're not even gonna sit there and listen to the justification for it. But if you look at the statistics per capita, that's the fact. Literally angry at facts. And we come up with all this victimhood and subjugation and redlining and slavery and the sob story. Everybody got a sob story, but it's how you get over the sob story, right? Speaking of that, I got a video for that one. We'll take a brief intermission of me cutting through the videos that's got everybody triggered, man. But there's a video that came across that drives that point perfectly. Where is it? Where that motherfucker go?
Let me say this about his quote-unquote sob story. Yeah, there's some people who actually, there's some black folks who actually do rise to the top. As y'all know, I'm a business owner. I became a millionaire when I was 28, 29, something like that, with my businesses that I own and my properties and all that stuff. Does that mean that I didn't come through any kind of crazy challenges? No, I had a bunch of crazy challenges, stuff that I'll probably tell you about here in the future. I had things that happened to me that no person should have happened to him in the work field. Never. But it happened to me. So whenever I overcome obstacles, just because I have become successful, it doesn't mean that those obstacles don't exist. That's what gets on my nerves about folks like Stevie Knight. Just because he's successful and he's doing well, he thinks that his exception to the rule is what's going on all across the world, when it's just not. Two things can be true. You can become successful as a black man. You can also have some incredibly crazy challenges as a black man that white folks don't deal with. And I've seen it. When I was in college, I had to do some group projects. I had 4 or 5 other folks in my class, in my group. Those 4 folks were white folks. The stuff that they had, the advantages that they had, the stuff that their parents handed down to them was crazy. And I don't just mean houses and cars and stuff. I mean opportunities. Like, oh yeah, whenever I get my degree, I'm going to go work for so-and-so because my dad's cousin works for so-and-so. I'm going to get that job, starting off at $80,000. And I'm like, wow. And I was looking for a job that would pay $40,000 because I didn't know anybody, I had no connections. That's the kind of stuff that he doesn't even consider.
Right. So when segregation ended, right, black people, or when slavery ended, actually, black people were just forced wherever, right? So they had nowhere to go. And then there was laws put in place to put them into prison. And after...
Okay, no, what's your name? What's your name? Jackson. It takes a lot of courage to come up here.
Yeah, no,
Let's just take a deep breath. Okay, I'm not here to pick on you.
No,
and I appreciate it. No, it's okay. I know this can be very intimidating getting in a crowd like this, so just take a deep breath. Let me make your argument. I'm going to make your argument for you, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's wrong. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah,
okay, so the argument that is being made, that you want to make, is that there's legacies of injustice.
Yes.
And that those legacies impact one generation after the other, and when those things get handed down, you have what is a system or a systemic issue that isn't just isolated in 2024. So the argument that you're making is that what happened in 1954 does impact 2024 of decade after decade after decade. Let me tell you my response to that. Of course, there is some truth to that. However, every culture, every person in this audience can point to issues that families or generations prior had that we're able to overcome. So the question is, why is it that Black America is one of the only populations, that and Native American populations, that have not been able to overcome such evil, horrors, and injustices? Here's my perspective, and I want to hear what you have to say, is that the number one way to keep people out of poverty, lower the crime rate, and have a better society is whether or not you have a mom and a dad around. Would we agree that's an ideal? Yeah? Cool. And so what happened in 1964 is that 25% of Black youth were raised by a single mom. Today, it's nearly 75%, about 70%. So that means that 1 in 4 black kids will have a father around. Only 1 in 4. That's the number one issue happening in the country, and it's not because of systemic racism. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay, so I think I misjudged you at first.
Bro, mic drop. Mic drop, bro. Like, what racism? All this is holding the black community accountable. But since he's white, he's racist, right? You see a black man, me, holding the black community accountable. No, you're a coon because you don't see it from our perspective. You're attacking us.
He's not a coon just because of that. He's a coon because everything black, he seems to be against it. And I just listed stuff off earlier. He's against DEI, affirmative action, Joy Reid, Michelle Obama. He's against all of this stuff. And somehow, even though Charlie Kirk is clearly saying things that are inflammatory to different races, different groups, somehow Stevie Knight is searching and seeking some type of excuse to get Charlie Kirk out of it. That is what a coon is. That is what Candace Owens does. That's what Brandon Tatum does. If you go look at their channel, you'll see them talking about why this white officer actually wasn't in the fault here, why these black folks actually shouldn't have been doing this. That's all they talk about. Everything is shaded towards black wrong, white right. That is why he's a coon. As far as what Charlie Kirk was talking about, his issue is, and we've seen the statement about empathy and how he just doesn't understand. He just doesn't like the word empathy. We've seen that statement before. And it's clear when he makes that statement. He has no type of empathy or sympathy either for just black folks. He's never put himself in black shoes and say, I wonder what they're going through in this situation, ever.
Right? All he's doing is holding the black community accountable. And accountability gets you to the top. But black folks are so emotionally driven, emotionally played, emotionally capitalized off of. When you lift that veil and actually listen to what someone's saying that has an opposing perspective than you, which is meant to help the black community in the grand scheme of things, dog, it gets flipped into you're racist. Right? Anyway.
So what they were talking about in that conversation was how things that happened years and years and years ago, they do impact things that's going on today. And that's why I'm a fan of reparations. That's why I believe in reparations. Just look at this quick example. Let's say 350 years ago, there was a white guy who owned slaves. He's not paying for any of his labor. He just owns slaves. He's getting filthy rich. He takes a lot of his money and creates a bank with it. He's the top of this bank. He ends up hiring a couple of his white friends because he identifies with them. They're pretty smart. So he ends up hiring those two people. So those two families are set for life because they are part owners of this bank. Then those two people that this owner ended up hiring, they end up hiring their friends and family as well. And then those folks, they create a lot of wealth and they buy houses and cars and everything else, and they pass that down to their children. So all of these things from slavery, they actually do benefit folks today. Now look at the black person who was 350 years ago. He's a slave. Whenever he's freed, what does he get? He has no opportunities. He has nobody that he's familiar with who can give him a job. He has to go and find some type of labor work opportunity. He gets that. He's told, you can't learn how to read. That's it. When he's a slave, you can't learn how to read. They don't even let him read. Don't let him educate himself. So now he has to do some type of labor opportunity. Then he has kids and he's got to teach them how to do this trade or this labor, whatever it is. And they've got to pass down this trade, and and it's just poverty after poverty after poverty that gets passed down compared to these white folks who have benefits, opportunities, and finances all over the place. That is how it's different if you just compare things from 350 years ago all the way to now.
He ain't utter not a damn word of racism, bro. Bro knew how to articulate Cuz's point better than he could. But even with that, black folks are going to come up with a reason or excuse. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of mass incarceration. It's because of the introduction of crack cocaine into the hood in the 60s and 70s. It's because of this. It's because of that, bro. Everybody got this out there, and they all got over it, right? The Jews, Holocaust, 6 million of them died, bro. Everything taken from them. What's the narrative of Jews now, bro? They run it. They got money. They not worried. Asians, they have their history here too. The top earning race in America per capita. Right? Hell, even others that share our same melanin in Africa, bro, they can't stand African Americans because of this lazy, victimhood, entitled perspective that infects the whole community, bro. And once you be able to realize that, have some accountability, rip that shit off, dog, then you excel, bro. I used to live that life, dog. Victimhood like a motherfucker, bro. Rip that fucking mask off, dog. Shit, winning. Net worth, bro. When I was a victim, I have not an ounce of net worth, bro. Whatever the damn feds put in my damn bank account, bro. Spending money on bullshit, dog. But then you take that mask off, and now you're not looking through a black lens. You're looking through a whole world lens. You're taking everybody's information, everybody's game, everybody's perspective into consideration. Broadening your entire perspective, bro. The world opens up, and that was the goal. That was the goal, dog. But motherfuckers can't handle that mirror until they ready to handle that mirror, dog. What else? The abortion video that went viral on Jubilee.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and when she was giving birth and she was gonna live, would you want her to go through that?
The answer is yes, the baby would be
I can't play that because if I play that, Jubilee gonna demonetize it, man. But if you were one of these angry blue-haired feminists that feel he needs to die because of his belief on abortion, then you're the fucking devil, bro. You need to go watch that video in its entirety and see his justification for it, bro. He cooked. His justification for it is that we don't commit evil after evil. That life that was formed due to evil does not deserve to be taken because of evil. You don't follow evil with evil. And then the woman goes on to say, well, it's not a life. Life don't matter. It's just a clump of cells. Who gives a fuck? The baby's life, your daughter's life is more important, right? Whether you disagree, his justification for it came from a good place. It came from a good place, but he deserved to die because of his conviction in God. You're like, well, he deserves to die because of his conviction in God, what we're talking about. It's not about abortion. It's not about life. It's a conviction in God. Everybody has the right to live. He said you have two ultrasounds. One comes from a loving couple. One comes from the act of a grape. Which one is it? Can you tell which one it is? And the woman goes on trying to illegitimize the life period, but the fact remains you cannot tell. They both deserve life regardless of how they got here. And I'm not a pro-lifer. I'm not a pro-abortion. It is what it is. I'm just emphasizing his point. All right, but he deserved to die because of that. Where you literally have women out here saying he deserved to die because of that.
He deserves to be shot because he said that if his daughter got raped, she would have to go through with the pregnancy. So I don't care that he got shot.
That kind of statement is so stupid. Like, I haven't seen too many folks online saying that this man deserved to get killed, because he did not deserve to get killed for his beliefs. It's just crazy. You cannot justify that.
What else? Oh, the LeBron, the gymnast. I can't even remember the gymnast's name. I gave her fucking smoke too. I give him LeBron
Simone
smoke too.
Biles.
At the end of the day, he has never targeted black people. He's always isolated particular people that happen to be black. And this.
Are y'all hearing this? This dude is saying, he keeps saying it. Like, he's not just targeting black folks. He's just targeting all the people who just so happen to be black. It's just a coincidence. How not dumb. I don't like to do the name calling too much. How much tap dancing can you actually do for these folks?
Is the problem, bro. First of all, the people that have become demonic because of the short-second reels that they watch with no context, it just shows how much of an idiot y'all are and how y'all are getting puppeteered and played. Everything entirely out of context. So that lets me know that if you're this pissed off about a fucking short snip that you saw that you didn't have any context on, you're a fucking idiot and you're a goddamn demon, because you allowed yourself to get this fucking psychotic based on something that's not even true. You're looking at a lie. You're looking at a manufactured narrative that they've created to make you feel this way about someone that feels the entire opposite. In reality, you're not going to find any video out here that highlights this man as a racist, highlights this man as a white supremacist, highlights this man as any of these negative things that y'all are putting on him.
We just saw the videos. There's also a video of him talking about Martin Luther King and how he's a bad guy. There's also a video of him talking about the civil rights movement and how that shouldn't have happened.
Y'all are just falling for the bullshit and falling for the propaganda. People out here thinking he deserves to die because of his pro-Israel stance. That means everybody that's pro-Israel deserves to die. You have the right to have that opinion. And he ain't the first one to have that opinion. That's probably the biggest contention throughout our entire history, bro. That shit's biblical. And we sitting here getting mad at him because he feels a certain way that people have felt for eons. Who the fuck is you? To think he deserves to die because of who the fuck is you, Jesus? But at the end of the day, it just shows who you are. Right? That you're easily played. That you're sheep. You're in the fucking matrix. You're doing exactly what the fuck they want you to do by showing you these little pockets of shit that don't have no truth to it, no context to it, and you running and gunning to the point that's pow, pow. And then don't even let me get into the black people, bro. So disappointed, dog. This is even eye-opening, more eye-opening for me to see that you all can come with so much vitriol for someone that's not a fucking racist. But it's the same thing. You allow these little short-second reels to fuck you up in the head to be thinking that this man is Hitler. And then it shows how entitled black people are. How dare this man have anything negative to say about anybody that's black? He can't have an opinion on LeBron James because LeBron James is black. He can't have...
Keep in mind, the majority of this man's audience, black folks. Just keep that in mind. He's got about 1 million subscribers, and the majority of those folks, I'm willing to bet you, are black. I bet you 65 to 70% of the folks that subscribe to him are black folks. And he's telling us that we are entitled. That's our problem.
Have an opinion on Michelle Obama because of Michelle Obama is black. And then y'all fall for the narrative of him saying black people when he not a man said black people about nothing. Only thing he's generalized were statistics. Statistically, black people do this. Statistically, black people do that. Statistically, there are 1 in 4 black fathers in the household. Statistically, blacks kill the most people in America per capita. Statistics is what's pissing y'all off. But then y'all fall for it and get played. So ain't no talking to y'all. Ain't no talking to y'all, bro. Ain't no talking. And I know that. I realize that, bro. It's like it is what it is. You're gonna have to go through your own journey to come out the other side to truly be awakened around this motherfucker, dog. They've done it on purpose because black folks are so emotionally driven, so emotionally triggered, so easily capitalized off on because of their emotions, bro.
You notice how often he keeps saying black folks and y'all and y'all and y'all. The thing that upsets me, disappoints me the most, is it's obvious to me that Stevie Knight does not even believe that he is black. To me, it seems like he thinks that he either believes that he's white or he wants to be white. I don't know much about the dude. I don't know much about him at all. But I do see that he's married, so good for him. And there's his wife right there. So God bless their union. But I will say that's kind of what I expected when I heard the stuff that he was saying. When I heard this nonsense that he was talking about, I was like, I wonder if he's married and what his wife looks like. Because there's certain people, they fit a certain criteria. Like they do the same types of things. Like look at Candace Owens. Look at her husband. Look at Brandon Tatum's wife. And then look at this guy's wife. They see, like they act like they're holding the black community accountable, but what they're really doing is they hate the black community because they hate themselves in a certain way. And they wish that they were something else. It's incredibly sad, but it's true. So, yeah. If you were wondering if he was married and what his wife looked like, there's your information.
Well, Charlie Kirk don't like Juneteenth. A lot of black folks don't like Juneteenth. Hell, the majority of black people in America didn't know shit about Juneteenth until after George Floyd died. Juneteenth was only used as a propaganda piece to get the black votes. Juneteenth really should piss you off because look now what the Democrats is doing. Play, bro.
It should piss us off that we didn't know about it. It should piss us off that it was hidden from us all these years. These folks that have no idea what Juneteenth is, instead of being pissed off that it become a holiday, they should be pissed off because people hid the information from us. My mom is 60-something years old, and she just found out about like the Tulsa riot and all that stuff just a few years ago. And she's all about Black history. So to just find that stuff out, it'll tell you how well it's been hidden from us.
Juneteenth only celebrated in Texas. And if there's a little pocket of black folks that know the history, they knew it. But for the most part, black folks didn't know shit about Juneteenth. But the government knew, ooh, if we can get all black folks to believe this day was the real day slavery was ended and get the Democratic vote behind it, bro, ooh, we got them. We got them. Play like a fucking fiddle, bro. That's why Juneteenth pisses me off for how it's politically used to capitalize on black folks where we have these crazies out here doing the shit that they fucking doing. And I hate to get so political, bro. This video was just meant to call out the cap, call out the bullshit, bro. But y'all ain't gonna recognize it. Ain't nothing nobody can say to y'all that are gone to the point to celebrating the man's death, bro. Y'all are cooked. Y'all are cooked. I just hope y'all continue to cook yourselves. You know, when I post this and read the comments of y'all motherfuckers still trying to figure out a way to demonize him, demonize me, say he's Hitler, say I'm Uncle Tom, blah, 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 blah. All y'all doing is telling on y'all fucking self, bro. And the more y'all telling yourself, the more y'all can identify yourself, the more we can really get this fracture popping off, we can separate good from evil. Because y'all motherfuckers is evil.
If you just go online and just look at people who are talking about Charlie Kirk's death, I'm willing to bet you that the folks who actually have a platform on YouTube, I bet you less than 5% of those folks are celebrating. I bet you it's even less than that. Probably less than 2% of these folks are celebrating. Everybody that I've seen, almost everybody that I've seen, is saying that this should have never happened. But somehow he's saying black folks are celebrating this. Who? Like, who? I'm not, and I'm black. My wife is black. She's not. My mom is black. She's not. My brother's black. He's not. Who's celebrating it? Why is it black people are celebrating this? What's up with that generalization? That's crazy.
Right. Y'all victim to it. Y'all don't fucking know better because y'all can't think for yourself. Right. Group think. Group fucking think, bro. Anyway, with that, find me a fucking video of Kirk out here really been on some racist shit, dog, and we'll talk about it. But until that, bro, y'all are out here celebrating a man's assassination that only wanted the greater good, his version of the greater good. And even if you ain't fucking with that, his whole MO was to have anybody, regardless of their race, religion, background, age, whomever, come and debate him so we can have conversations because that's everything wrong in the world, bro. That we're not allowed to disagree. And if you disagree with me, that means you have to die. The biggest problem in the history of people, period, and you see it live in effect, bro. This was meant to have different perspective, polar opposite perspective, just be able to discuss it, have open dialogue, thought-provoking conversations to turn perspectives, which he did, but it brought the demons out, dog. It brought the demons out where you get killed over conversation. So, anyway.
All right, so that's the video, man. So as you see, Stevie Knight definitely is a coon. Definitely is a tap dancing, buck dancing fool. My frustration, my confusion is you cannot tell people, send me the video if he's racist, when you have just gone through plenty of information and you're finding ways to twist it to where it doesn't seem racist to you. There's all kind of things that you can send to me and I can find a thread where it may look totally different than what it actually is. And that's what you're doing. So when you tell folks, send me the video of him being racist, it's disingenuous is what it is, because you're not really interested in finding anything. And that's proof by what you just showed us in this video. So Stevie Knight, I used to be subscribed to him. I unsubscribed so quick when I saw this nonsense. I would not be shocked if his base ends up dropping like crazy after this, because I'm telling you, the majority of his fans are folks who's into hip hop and black culture. And who's mostly into black culture and hip hop? It's black folks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just despise people like this, man. And I will never support anything that Stevie Knight ever does. He's a clown to me. So that's all that I got for y'all today. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to grow one subscription, one like at a time. So thanks for watching the video. Take care. God bless. Peace.